Owls are typically associated with forests and night skies, where height and darkness provide both cover and control, allowing them to hunt from above while remaining hidden from potential threats. Most species rely on elevated perches, using trees not only as nesting sites, but also as strategic vantage points from which they can detect movement across large areas. But in open landscapes where trees are scarce or completely absent, this strategy is no longer possible. In these environments, one species has evolved a very different approach to survival. The burrowing owl is a small, ground-dwelling owl found across grasslands, deserts, and open plains, where instead of nesting in trees, it occupies underground burrows, originally excavated by animals such as prairie dogs, ground squirrels, and armadillos. These burrows provide a stable microenvironment, buffering against extreme surface temperatures and reducing exposure to aerial predators, which are among the most significant threats in open habitats. Living at ground level introduces a different set of challenges, and the burrowing owl shows several adaptations that reflect this shift. Compared to other owls, it has relatively longer legs, allowing it to walk and run efficiently across open terrain. While its visual system is adapted for both daytime and nighttime activity, making it one of the few owl species that is regularly active during daylight hours. Like other owls, it possesses asymmetrically positioned ears, which allow it to detect the direction of sounds with high precision. But in this environment, this ability is especially important, as threats can approach from both the air and the ground. Without the advantage of elevation or concealment, survival depends less on avoiding detection and more on detecting danger early. This shift is also reflected in its hunting behavior, which differs from that of most owls. Rather than relying solely on silent flight, burrowing owls often hunt by running along the ground, hovering briefly over prey, or waiting on low perches, such as mounds or fence posts, before striking. Their diet is broad and includes insects, small mammals, reptiles, and other small animals. And like other owls, they swallow prey whole and later regurgitate indigestible material, such as bones and fur, in the form of pellets. However, feeding is only part of the challenge, as reproduction must also take place in an environment with little natural protection. By nesting underground, burrowing owls are able to shield their eggs and chicks from temperature extremes and many predators, while the enclosed space helps maintain relatively stable conditions compared to the surface. Both parents participate in raising the young, sharing responsibilities such as guarding the burrow and providing food, which increases the likelihood of offspring survival in an exposed environment. In many areas, these owls are not solitary, but instead form loose colonies where multiple individuals occupy nearby burrows. Although each pair maintains its own nest, the presence of neighbors can improve overall vigilance, as multiple individuals can detect and respond to threats more effectively than a single pair alone. Juveniles develop quickly within the burrow, and while their vision becomes functional early, their auditory system continues to improve, leading to characteristic head-tilting behavior that helps refine their ability to localize sound. When threatened, particularly by predators such as snakes, young burrowing owls display an unusual defensive behavior. They produce a rattling hiss that closely resembles the sound of a rattlesnake, a form of acoustic mimicry that can deter predators by creating the impression of a more dangerous animal. This strategy does not require physical strength or speed, but instead relies on deception, demonstrating how survival can depend on perception as much as on direct defense. Adults employ a different strategy that takes advantage of their environment. In another way, they often place animal dung near the entrance of their burrows, which attracts insects such as dung beetles, effectively increasing the availability of prey close to their nesting site. This behavior reduces the need to search widely for food, conserving energy while increasing feeding efficiency, which can be especially beneficial when raising young. The burrowing owl represents a shift away from the typical owl strategy, trading height and concealment for ground-based living, supported by behavioral and physiological adaptations. In doing so, it demonstrates how even closely related species can follow very different evolutionary paths when faced with new environmental pressures.